from the NHL to the NFL to possibly both the MLB and the NBA. Guys, we're going to be talking about Las Vegas's rapid rise in the sports world. It's pretty interesting. Such a small population to attract four major sports teams. By the way, they also are getting a Final Four. They also have a WNBA team. There were also rumors they were in it for a potential MLS expansion team. That didn't happen. That expansion team went to San Diego, but still, what Las Vegas has done since 2017, the major hit with the expansion NHL team, the Golden Knights, they've had a lot of success. They play in a beautiful new arena. You've also got the new super stadium sprouting, Allegiant Stadium, costing right around $2 billion with the translucent roof, nicknamed the Death Star. They were able to attract the Raiders from Oakland, and now looks like they're also taking the Athletics from Oakland. That's about a 95% chance, I would say, at this point. Although I will say it's going to be interesting to see how the Las Vegas A's, or whatever they're called, see how they do in terms of attendance, because, of course, MLB is very different than NFL when it comes to games, supply versus demand. There's so many more, but I would say that's got probably right now a 95% chance. And then the NBA. And if you look at any of the odds when it comes to NBA expansion, Adam Silver's already hinted at it several times. It's happening probably once the next collective bargaining agreement is ironed out, which will likely be done by 2025. They will go into expansion mode, and right now it looks like Las Vegas, they would be on the verge of getting their fourth major North American professional sports team in the span of about 6 years or 7 years, depending on when it happens. Also, Seattle, the other heavy favorite to get an expansion team. My question with an NBA expansion team in Vegas, it'll work, it'll be fine, but there was this weird, massive arena, retractable roof for around $5 billion. It was called All Net. Now, I do not think that's going to be happening. Seems like they're just kind of pushing dirt around right now. It was rumored since 2014, but recently we got word on a potential $10 billion NBA resort is what they're calling it, and it's going to be all privately funded. It is a new NBA arena. It's a curious decision because technically they really don't need a new arena. When you look at T-Mobile Arena, it is state-of-the-art. It is beautiful. It hosts the Golden Knights. There's so many different teams in the NBA and NHL that use the same arena because it fits so well. You really don't have to change much when it comes to the floor. You know, NHL versus NBA, it's very similar in terms of size. There's just a few, odds and ends you've got to do when converting an ice rink to an NBA arena, but the size is virtually the same. So I would have just figured there's no sense in building a new arena, because let's think about this. At this point, you're going to have so many arenas/stadiums in one small area in Las Vegas. It's remarkable. You've got the Super Stadium, Allegiant Stadium. You're going to be having the new A's MLB Stadium, and then possibly this on-campus resort as well. Now, when it comes to Las Vegas, what is special about it? It really comes down to one word, in my opinion, and this is, we've kind of seen this coming over the past 5 or 6 years. It comes down to gambling. It is the gambling capital of the world, and you can just see how overtly and how obvious it is that the NBA, NFL, MLB, they're all in bed. It's gotten, like, the past 3 years, they've ramped it up to where they will do segments, whether it's on MLB Network, ESPN, whatever. It's like, oh, look, think about this. They've gone now to where they'll show you on the little bottom ticker during game action, oh, now, the Reds are plus 200 to win because they're down by 1 run in the second inning. That's how crazy it's gotten, and I do think that's why there's been a major push, and normalizing the idea of sports betting has really opened the floodgates when it comes to Las Vegas getting all of these teams. It's not like their population is crazy or anything like that, but I would say when you look at the Golden Knights, the NHL team, they've been a major hit. They've got very good popularity. You look at the Raiders. I mean, let's be honest. Anytime an NFL team goes to a new city, they're going to be a major hit just because the NFL is so popular and there's only 8 or 9 home games, but they've been a major hit. They've got, sports betting areas inside Allegiant Stadium. It's all intertwined now. On May 14th, 2018, the Supreme Court struck down a federal sports betting ban, and by that point, Vegas had already constructed more hotel capacity than any other city in the country. So 2018 was officially the tipping point when sports betting really became mainstream, and now we're seeing online sports betting getting legalized in more states year by year. The Supreme Court ruling was the key for the NCAA to rethink its anti-Las Vegas stance, and now, of course, they're getting a Final Four at Allegiant Stadium in the year 2028. So Las Vegas, why have we seen this massive rise from nothing? It's a combination of things. It's the tourism, it's the gambling, it's bringing the idea of betting on sports, making it mainstream, so mainstream to the point where you'll see on different shows, you turn the channel to ESPN, whatever, at the bottom, Jacksonville is 10-point favorites, Ohio State's 2-point favorites. It's all there. You can't escape it. That's something we never used to see when I was younger. They would never show any of the gambling stuff, and now it's all intertwined, and it's so intertwined. The gambling capital, Las Vegas, who, you could argue, are they number one, are they number two? A lot of that has to do with population, but just in terms of why do you go to Vegas? You go there to party, the nightlife, to have fun, and to gamble, and to bet on games. That's what you do, and now they've got a brand new super stadium there. They're looking at possibly getting an NBA team, maybe even building a $10 billion complex. The interesting thing with that $10 billion complex, if it is all privately funded, I guess they could build it. I don't know where they would build it exactly. They're running out of area on the Strip. That's one of the things with the Oakland A's potential new stadium. They're running into an issue with the amount of acres the stadium's going to take up, depending on if it's a retractable roof or not. I do not think it's going to be a retractable roof, but you're talking about Vegas already with an NHL team with a beautiful state-of-the-art arena, already with an NFL team with a beautiful super stadium hosting a Super Bowl in 2026, possibly getting an NBA team. They're one of the two overwhelming favorites for when the NBA expands. They've got about a 95% chance right now, I would say, to get the A's from Oakland in terms of MLB. That's basically all of your bases covered right there. The question is, I think all of this will work out for Vegas outside of maybe the A's. NBA, when it comes to their attendance in big cities, normally even like a city like Miami, because their arenas are smaller, like around 20,000, 18,000, whatever, especially if they built a new arena, they would be fine. An NBA team in Vegas would be absolutely phenomenal for the NBA and just overall the attendance, the fan base. It would be very similar to NHL. It's a little bit different with MLB because MLB, there's a lot more home games. You're dealing with a team relocating. Right now, the Athletics are not very good. Now, that's probably going to change depending, if they do move by 2028, maybe the Athletics will be better by then. But MLB certainly, I'm not going to say it's going to flop in Vegas, but I am skeptical on it just based off of a number of different factors. Also, just in terms of the stadium versus arena, they can kind of get away with it when it comes to NFL having the translucent roof, but for baseball, it is far superior when it's played outdoors, and especially when it comes to the picture on the screen. You want baseball played outdoors, and they're just not going to be able to do that with Vegas. Now, there's been talks. I'm guessing there's going to be some type of retractableness to the Las Vegas A's stadium, but it's not going to be anything like we've seen with all these retractable roofs fully opening. I think maybe the outfield will open and like half of it'll open. There'll be a window that opens, something like that, but it's going to be mainly fully enclosed full time, which is kind of frowned upon when it comes to MLB. So there's a few more issues with MLB, and then it also comes down to a supply and demand thing. At what point does the market possibly get oversaturated, or is it because of tourism when people funneling in and out, in and out, in and out every week? That's going to keep Las Vegas and their attendance good in virtually everything. I saw they were low in terms of, at least when you compare them to other teams, in terms of NFL attendance. You just can't look at NFL attendance because basically every team sells out or is at like 95% capacity. I would say the Raiders move, while it's not as good as the Rams going from St. Louis to LA. I mean, the Rams were like the third most valuable franchise a year ago. That is, I mean, could you imagine if they were still in St. Louis? There's no way they'd be the third most valuable franchise. But you have to say for sure, the situation right now, it was between, do you build a new stadium in Oakland and keep the Raiders in Oakland, or do you move to Vegas? They made the right choice moving to Vegas because everyone wants to come to Vegas. It is the happening area, and it seems like Las Vegas does have more relevancy. Just judging from an outside perspective looking in at this, seems like Las Vegas, the Raiders, have much more relevancy within the NFL now that they are in Las Vegas, and they can possibly more easily attract free agents as well. But that's just the story of Las Vegas, the rise of gambling, and also mainly sports betting kind of being accepted within the sports world. All of the money funneling into that. You've got ESPN now doing deals with different gambling companies. And I also do think, on top of the rise of normalizing sports betting, they've already got the infrastructure. Las Vegas already had tons of hotel capacity, the most in the United States out of any city. So if you're already ready for the teams, you just need to go ahead. You just need it to become fully mainstream. When it does become fully mainstream, like it has, the dam has just completely broken, and that's why it's all happened in the span, possibly getting 4 teams less than a decade. Pretty remarkable there, guys. But that is the story. Las Vegas coming on and taking the sports world by storm. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.